The movie starts with a man named McGregor presenting about the Tears of the Moon to a group of scholars in Europe. Through the legend of the Tears of the Moon, McGregor hopes he and his sister Lily can join them. Unfortunately, the scholars don't listen to what McGregor is saying and instead dismiss him. While McGregor is speaking, Lily sneaks into a room, but she can't enter because it's heavily guarded. Not running out of ideas, Lily distracts the guards and manages to enter the room. To cut the story short, Lily finds a wooden box containing an arrowhead and takes it. Soon after, Prince Joachim arrives at the place, seeking the same arrowhead, but unfortunately for him, the box is already empty. Not staying still, they question the guards and everyone in the room, trying to catch Lily, but quick on her feet, Lily escapes, even though she briefly hangs from a window. After escaping, Lily and McGregor leave the place. The scene shifts to Frank, a skipper on the Amazon River. On that day, Frank is taking several people on a tour of the Amazon River. The river looks beautiful yet terrifying. Frank shows them a boa constrictor, saying it can eat 500 pounds. At the same time, a female passenger tries to grab a flower near the riverbank. Frank stops her, explaining that what she sees can kill them. Afterward, Frank takes out a machete and explains all the dangers of the jungle: hanging skulls, dead hippos, and so on. Frank puts on a show, calling it the highlight of the tour. However, it turns out the show is just a routine act that doesn't impress the tourists at all. Unexpectedly, they are ambushed by the puka michuna, the deadliest hunters. These hunters attack the boat, and the passengers are overwhelmed, trying to save themselves. However, it turns out the puka michuna are part of Frank's act, which the passengers didn't realize. Frank collaborates with them to make the tour seem more dangerous. The trip ends, and Frank takes them back to the shore. But not long after, a man named Mr. Nilo arrives, demanding Frank repay his debt. Since Frank can't pay, Mr. Nilo takes the engine from his boat. Meanwhile, Lily and McGregor are in the same area. Lily has fled from England and is now searching for the legendary Tears of the Moon that her father once told her about. Once in the Amazon, Lily realizes she needs someone skilled in navigating the river. Mr. Nilo, being the only one with the best boats available, becomes her target. While Frank, not staying idle after losing his engine, sneaks into Mr. Nilo's office to steal it back. Before long, Lily arrives and forces her way into the room. Initially, Frank doesn't want to deal with Nilo. He just wants his engine. But after Lily offers him a lot of money, Frank opens the door and pretends to be Mr. Nilo. Not long after, McGregor arrives with the real Mr. Nilo. This is the first lie Frank tells. At the same moment, Frank sees the arrowhead necklace around Lily's neck and convinces her to travel with him. However, Lily can no longer trust Frank. Suddenly, a jaguar bursts into the room, causing chaos. While everyone panics, Frank bravely fights the jaguar. Seeing Frank's courage, Lily agrees to hire him as her guide. But it turns out the jaguar is part of Frank's plan, and once again, Frank has deceived her. Frank waits for Lily and McGregor by the riverbank. Seeing McGregor's excessive luggage, they argue. Meanwhile, Lily tries to stop someone from capturing birds, only to find out the birds are bait. They trap Lily in a birdcage and take her away. Realizing Lily is missing from the boat, Frank gets off and searches for her. The people who captured Lily are Prince Joachim's henchmen. Once again, Lily escapes from them. When she returns to the dock, unable to swim, she uses a pulley system to get back to the boat. The pursuit doesn't stop there. Joachim chases after them in a submarine. Just as they set off, Joachim appears with a much larger ship armed with weapons. Frank, with his experience, tries to dodge the attack. In the end, they escape, though Frank causes chaos by steering Joachim's ship into the dock, wrecking Mr. Nilo's boats. Their journey to find the Tears of the Moon begins. As usual, Frank takes them deep into the Amazon. Along the way, they have no supplies, so Frank catches animals from the river for dinner. After that, McGregor decides to rest. When he enters the boat, he is shocked to find the same jaguar that attacked them earlier inside. Frank arrives and calms them both. Reflecting on this, Lily becomes even more suspicious of Frank. Meanwhile, Joachim grows more desperate to get the arrowhead from Lily. He resorts to reviving the cursed conquistadors, who had turned to stone with a potion. The revived Aguirre, covered in snakes. Meanwhile, Frank and Lily, Their journey becomes more dangerous as they face massive waves that sweep them towards a waterfall. But thanks to Frank's expertise, they survive the rapids and rest in the jungle. While Frank and McGregor are exploring, Lily stays behind. During her exploration, she finds a map similar to hers. It is then that Lily discovers Frank has been searching for the tears of the moon all along. She also realizes Frank wants the arrowhead she possesses. Not long after, Frank confronts her and explains he stopped searching for the tears long ago. He also reveals that Aguirre and his men were cursed 400 years ago, and their bodies have never been found. Soon, Frank and the others continue their journey. However, they are captured by natives and taken deep into the jungle. Surprisingly, Frank can communicate with the natives. Frank tells the chief wants the arrowhead that Lily has, or else Lily won't survive. Lily tries to free herself and threatens one of them. Seeing how serious Lily is, the chief removes her mask, revealing that they are not as dangerous as they seemed. They are actually Frank's friends, and this was another one of Frank's tricks to get the arrowhead. Lily becomes furious and decides to search for the tears of the moon on her own, without Frank. To her surprise, Aguirre and his army of cursed beings track them down, trying to take Lily's necklace. Frank intervenes to stop them. During the fight, Aguirre's sword pierces Frank, causing him to fall from a great height. Despite this, Frank manages to grab the arrowhead and give it back to Lily. But the battle isn't over, as Aguirre and his men are washed back into the river, cursed to return to their stone forms. Then Lily searches for Frank, finding him alive and completely unharmed. Frank finally tells his story. He was one of Aguirre's men who searched for the tears of the moon 400 years ago to heal his daughter. But the harsh conditions of the jungle caused many of them to die, leaving only Aguirre and a few others. When Aguirre was on the verge of death, a local tribe saved him and offered to heal him with the flower. But Aguirre, growing impatient, attacked the tribe's leader. In response, the leader cursed Aguirre and his men, trapping them within the river's boundaries. Frank, once Aguirre's trusted officer, betrayed him and sided with the tribe. However, Frank was also cursed, meaning he could never leave the river. For centuries, Aguirre has tried to kill Frank, but they are both immortal. Eventually, Frank tired of the endless battle and set a trap that kept Aguirre far from the river, turning him into stone. Frank has spent his time since then as a river guide. At the same time, Frank reveals that he created the map Lily used to navigate the Amazon. Frank, exhausted from his long life, seeks the tears of the moon to finally rest. Hearing Frank's story, Lily sympathizes with him and begins to like him. Meanwhile, Joachim, still furious, returns with his submarine. McGregor, who is with a native woman by the river, sees Joachim's arrival. The woman leaves while McGregor freezes in place. Joachim captures McGregor and offers him luxuries in exchange for information, but McGregor refuses. Eventually, Joachim threatens him, and McGregor reveals their destination. In the next scene, Frank and Lily have reached the end of the river, but there is nothing there. The flower they seek is at the bottom of the river. Frank, unable to go underwater, asks Lily to open the door. Lily, who can't swim, refuses, but Frank teaches her, and together they dive toward the entrance. As Lily tries to open the door, Frank fights off piranhas that attack them. Frank then leaves Lily behind and returns to the boat, causing Lily to feel abandoned and angry. But unexpectedly, the river's water recedes, revealing a cave beneath its surface. At the same time, Joachim arrives with McGregor as his prisoner. Seeing her brother in his clutches, Lily gives the arrowhead necklace to Joachim. Moments later, everyone enters the cave and sees the ancient dead tree of the tears of the moon. Lily takes a gemstone from the arrowhead and inserts it into a puzzle on the tree. To their astonishment, the tree comes back to life, and countless flowers bloom. Joachim, greedy as ever, declares that only 2 flowers can be picked, one for himself and one for Lily. Thinking fast, Lily pretends to shoot Frank, making it look like he is dead. This gives Frank the opportunity to take down Joachim's men. However, the flowers will only bloom under the light of the full moon. As the moonlight starts to fade, the tree begins to wither again. Lily manages to grab just 1 flower before the last petals disappear. Not one to back down, Joachim tries to steal the flower from Lily's hands. In a desperate move, Lily throws the flower, and Frank catches it, At the same time, Aguirre arrives with his cursed army, determined to take the flower for himself. In another clever trick, Frank hands Aguirre a fake flower, tricking him into believing he's won. Furious at being deceived, Aguirre crashes his ship into the cave wall, causing the river to flood with debris. This traps Aguirre and his men, turning them back into stone as they are too far from the river to survive. Joachim also meets his demise, crushed by falling rocks after McGregor accidentally triggers a collapse. As the dust settles, Frank, who has been turned to stone by the river's curse, stands frozen. Devastated by the loss of Frank, Lily regretfully uses the precious flower to try and save him. The flower dissolves into his stone form, but nothing seems to happen. Heartbroken, Lily and McGregor begin to leave. But just as they turn to go, they hear a noise behind them. Lily rushes back to find Frank, fully restored to life and no longer bound by the curse. Overjoyed, she embraces him. With the curse broken, Frank is finally free to live a normal life. The film concludes with McGregor turning down an offer to join the European scholars who once mocked him. Meanwhile, Lily and Frank are seen enjoying their time together as a couple, sailing into their next adventure. And the movie ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.